Imagine this. You're tasked with choosing the final mitzvot to conclude the list of all the mitzvot in Sefer Dvarim, the book of Deuteronomy. What would they be? Maybe the belief in one God, Shabbat, Kashrut, the Jewish dietary laws. After all, these are the pillars of Judaism, and they have stood the test of time. But spoiler alert, the last mitzvot are not what you might expect. So what are they, and why did Moses choose to end specifically with them? The answer is found at the beginning of Parashat Ki Tavo that we read this week. The first mitzvah is known as Mikra Bikurim, which is a ceremony involving a declaration that the farmer in the land must recite upon bringing his first fruits to the temple. The second is known as Vidui Ma'aser, a ceremony involving a declaration or a confession that the farmer must make after giving the Ma'aser Ani, the poor tithe, every third year. The text of the Mikra Bikurim declaration is familiar to most of us from the Pesach, the Passover Haggadah. It begins with the farmer's declaration that he has entered the promised land. He then retells the story of our landless beginnings, our enslavement and oppression in Egypt, and then God's miraculous redemption. And finally, he is to declare that he is now bringing the first fruits from the soil of the land. The Vidui Ma'aser involves his declaration or confession that he has divested himself of all the portions of crop that are to be donated to the poor, and that he has not desecrated them in any way. So what is it about these two mitzvot in particular that helps us understand why Moses chose them and not some others that we might have suggested? I believe the answer is that these mitzvot teach us a series of lessons that are critical for us as we establish ourselves as God's people in the promised land. First, gratitude. We must be grateful to God for all he has done for us, both in the past and in the present. Second, it's not enough to feel gratitude. We must be able to express gratitude in words. Third, we must be aware of God's role in history. Fourth, we must remember that God formalized his relationship with us through a covenant. Thus, when God fulfills his end of the deal, we must fulfill our end as well. Fifth, the final destination of the people of Israel is the land of Israel. Sixth, one day there will be a temple within the land that will serve as our religious and spiritual center. Seventh, the God of history is also the God of nature. Eighth, each of our individual blessings in the land is part of the larger blessing that God bestows upon the entire people. Ninth, the land is a source of material blessing to be enjoyed by all of those who live there. And finally, we may not enjoy our blessings until we have shared them with those who are less fortunate. With all that has been going on in Israel since October 7th, it's sometimes difficult to notice the extraordinary blessings that the land of Israel has to offer, and to be grateful for the opportunity to become a sovereign nation in the land after so many years living elsewhere. That is precisely why I believe the lessons of these two mitzvot are so important at this time. They remind us that whether this land is a blessing or, God forbid, a curse, is not a function of the land per se, but of what we do with it, the kind of state we seek to build, and the kind of society we wish to create within it now and for the future. If this message resonates with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments below. Shabbat Shalom.